Okay, this all boils down to this. If I had my life to live over, one of the first things I would do is I would instruct my children and then my grandchildren. If they have a problem, go to their parents. Go to someone that loves them and tell them the problem. You may not like to tell your folks, but they're the only ones that really care about you. If you get into trouble of any kind, don't go to your friends because they don't know anything more about it than you do. That's like asking a mule what to do about another mule. And it makes common sense. If you want help, you go where help is. So for Pete's sake, don't set yourselves up. Learn to be truthful, to be honest, and then you don't have problems. If you want to do something, your folks say no, there's usually a reason. It may be financial, it may be that they don't trust who you're going with, or maybe you're just not old enough to know what you want. But don't think that because you're 16 or 18 or whatever it is that you know all there is to know. It don't happen that way. But the other thing I'd do is I would raise my children in a church. I'm not going to tell you which one. I was raised a Catholic, clear up until my son was killed. And then the church was no help to me at all. And I don't mean help financially, I mean help with my emotions. But at any rate, I married Sue Ann. She was LDS, or Mormon. I've dealt with Mormons the last 20 years of my life and found them to be excellent people to deal with, that you could trust them. And I'm afraid I had a shoe in. I was already convinced they were a good group. There's always the bad apple, but there's not very many of them. Anyhow, my biggest advice to parents: talk to your children and then give them a chance to answer and listen. I was more in the talk mood. So please, give your children the break, let them talk to you. Then don't hang it over their head and say, don't do this because. Let them learn how to handle it. But I don't mean I'm an expert. It just means I've enjoyed every one of my kids, even the ones that didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. I still love them. I still want them to be successes. I still want to do everything I can for them, as long as it doesn't make them do things that are bad. But main thing is, remember, go to the ones that love you. They're the ones that care. For my grandchildren, if they want to come to me or to Grandma, we're always here. If they want to talk to us first, then to their parents, that's okay, but it all winds up, you still got to go back to your parents. We encourage you to do it, because if you don't, you're going to pay some dear prices. If you don't believe it, look at some of your brothers and sisters. But at any rate, know that we love you, that our hearts are always there for you, that there's no one in this world that cares any more for you than we do. And I know that Grandma's the same way. That we're beyond going out and playing games with you on the beach, but we can do everything else. If it's there physically and morally, we'll do it as best we can. Anyhow, I'm not sure what else to do here, but the main thing I want to do is get this in to advise you that both the parents and the children listen, talk, visit, trust. I think that's about all I've got to say. Well, I guess I should add to that. When your mother and I got married, before we got married, she asked me one day, she said, what do you think of the LDS Church? What's the LDS Church? The Mormons. Well, then I told her, I says, well, I respect them a lot. I've dealt with them. I've always trusted them. I've always had good results with dealing with them, because if they told you they'd do something, they did it. So I said, when she told me she was a Mormon, it delighted me. And I started going to church with her. I didn't join the church for a couple, 3 years afterwards. But I says, it was there in my mind. I was thinking about it. And I says, when they quit pushing me, then I was willing to do it. But I said, I didn't join the church for your mother. I joined it for me. And I think that's the biggest thing right there. You do something because you want to do it. And I says, and the way I feel now is that it's filled a great big hole in my life that I didn't even know was there. I have some wonderful friends in the church. I have a true feeling, I don't know how to put it, it's just a wonderful, comfortable feeling. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I must say that my experience with your mother has been a wonderful experience. She's been a great spouse. Sometimes she's a pain in the duff, especially when she tries to be my mother. So I can understand why you'd be a little disposed to, calling mother the most wonderful thing in the world. But know that I love her. I love each and every one of you. And anything I ever did would be for you, not against you. Thank you and good night.